How is it possible? How does it happen that 9 million people defeat 90 million? One region, two countries, one with 9 million people, the other with 90 million, exactly 10 times more. At first glance, it's not even a competition. It's like one person against 10. It's almost like Georgia attacking Russia, which actually has 140 million people, not 90. But the reality of Israel and Iran, nevertheless, is paradoxical. One country is small, 78 years in a state of conflict since its birth, without oil, without gas, almost without natural resources. The other has 10 times the population, huge reserves of oil and gas, an ancient imperial civilization, and a strategic position between East and West. And yet, in innovation, startups, Nobel Prizes per capita, cybersecurity, medicine, and venture investments, Israel is significantly ahead of Iran. The question, of course, is why? If you're interested in such analyses without propaganda or emotion, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. We'll be breaking down complex topics as deeply and honestly as possible. What was Iran like before Islamization? Until the 7th century, the territory of modern Iran was the center of great empires. There were the Achaemenid Empire, the Parthian Empire, and the Sassanid Empire. Persia created one of the first documents on human rights, the Cyrus Cylinder. A complex tax system, irrigation systems, imperial roads, religious tolerance. Yes, religious tolerance. In late antiquity, Sassanid Iran was equal in religion, military organization, law, and philosophy. It was a cosmopolitan civilization, technologically advanced for its time. We must understand that Islamization did not destroy Persia, it changed it. Persian scholars became the core of Islamic civilization. Avicenna, well, so to speak, not exactly a Persian, a Jew, of course, yes, so to speak, Abu Ali Sina, but that's not important. Al-Farabi, Al-Khwarizmi. From the 8th to the 12th century, Persian intellectual centers were among the most advanced in the world, on the globe, at least in that civilizational circle that we can talk about today. The problem started much later. Until 1979, Iran was actively modernizing under the leadership of the Shah. Industrialization, growth of universities, cooperation with the West, a secular legal system, expansion of women's rights. The White Revolution reformed the country. But in 1979, there was this Iranian religious fanatic revolution. The monarchy was overthrown and the Ayatollahs came to power. The main change was institutional. Meritocracy was replaced by ideological loyalty. Integration into the world was replaced by isolation under sanctions, and it was self-imposed isolation. Private initiative was replaced by state control. This is exactly what became the turning point in 1979. Well, let's pause here for now, and before we move on to the present, let's talk about Israel. Israel came into existence, its current, second, third, or even fourth incarnation, in 1948. It had no oil, it had no gas, it had no natural resources, so what did it have? Wars, unceasing from the moment it was founded. Even before that, right? Mass immigration, people who weren't able to do anything, and the threat of destruction, every day, every hour. And what did Israel build under this terrible pressure? Independent courts. Some say too independent. Competitive elections. Some say too competitive. Autonomous universities. Oh, I should say some say too autonomous. Open scientific networks. Integration. Full integration into the global market. A closed cycle has emerged. Military technologies, civilian startups, venture capital, global exits, new investments. An example? Yes, hundreds. Mobileye, Checkpoint Software Technologies, Wiz, as many as you want. This is a system that feeds and strengthens itself. So what's the structural difference? There is a difference between A and B. The first is brain drain. Iran has mass emigration, a constant mass exodus of the smartest, most enterprising, and most active people. Israel saw the return of the diaspora and investments. Iran didn't need to invent urgently. Oil was bringing in money. Israel needed to survive. Scarcity became the engine of innovation. There was nothing. They had to do everything themselves, as quickly as possible, right now or even yesterday. Israel immediately created alliances with venture capital in the U.S., scientific alliances. Iran created sanctions and restrictions. Innovation is born in networks, not in isolation. Innovation requires the right to argue. Where there is fear, there is conformity. Where there is conformity, there are fewer or almost no ideas that we call radical. What is meant is a breakthrough. The difference is between what is now and suddenly. Suddenly, a completely new idea appeared. You have to argue with someone, you have to refute it, you have to defend it, you have to build it, you have to prove it, not aloud. That's what they say in Iran. Has Iran created anything new? Well, yes. Missile technology, drones, nuclear infrastructure, nanotechnology. But all of that already existed in the world. Before that, they just recreated it knowing that it already existed. It didn't create a global consumer technology on the level of the internet. Not a single Nobel breakthrough in physics. Ecosystems like Silicon Valley, there was nothing even close to that there. The difference is not in intelligence. It's not about intelligence. Farsi Persians are very, very intellectual, with a huge reserve of some kind of historical background. I would even say, look at what a rich, amazing history they have. As they say, almost like the Jews, the difference is in freedom. That's what we talk about every day. The difference is in freedom. If Iran were to change, with its population of 90 million and strong engineering culture, they have a very strong engineering culture there. It could become an aerospace power, a major center for artificial intelligence, a biotech hub, a logistical bridge between Europe and Asia. What would be more catastrophic for the world? I asked artificial intelligence, if Iran disappears from the earth, if Israel disappears, the answer was this. In the short term, the disappearance of Iran would hit the world harder because of oil and energy markets. In the long term, the disappearance of Israel would weaken global cybersecurity technologies and innovation. In other words, the significance of Iran in natural resources. The significance of Israel lies in its people, in knowledge, and in the institutions established there. Let's think about this together for a bit. The population ratio is exactly 1 to 10. The gap in innovation is 100 to 1. The reason is not ethnic, it's not geographical, it's about how society is structured, how free it is, how open it is to the world, how much a person can think independently. The history of Persia shows that the potential is enormous, enormous potential. There are simply few countries with such potential as the Persians, as they were once called. Structures change. If they change in 20 to 30 years, the map of science in the Middle East and the world could look completely different. If, by the way, you're interested in fairly in-depth analyses without shouting and propaganda, subscribe to the channel and absolutely make sure to hit the bell so you don't miss the next episodes. Oh, before I forget, I want to say that to those who followed my request and hit the bell. Thank you very much. In a week, exactly 1,000 people. Thank you. But we still need at least 2,000 or better yet, 3,000 people. And then, as they say, sky is the limit. That means there will be no limit for us. So if you like what I do, if you think it's necessary, useful, and will interest not only you, then help us bring these videos to an audience beyond the circle we're already talking to. Click the bell. Please find it. It's not difficult. It's probably in the same place as the subscribe button, maybe in the top right corner of your screen, but most likely. If you're not subscribed, you don't have the bell. Subscribe, then click the bell when it appears. Also, please answer in the comments, what is more important for the country's development? Resources or freedom? See you next time.